Hello and welcome back to another episode of Exos Heroes, and today, as many of you guys might have guessed it, we're going to continue to look at the special dungeons. And because today is Nature Day, so obviously the element in focus is going to be nature, and we will be using this time the solar trade route as an example. So just as we have showcased the ancient gold mine yesterday, solar trade route does have a couple of unique mechanics to it as well. So we'll want to point those out as we go through the battle itself. But before that, let's take a look at our team selection here. So we do have a couple of requirements. Both of them are the same, so it's just rare, assassin, nature, and male. So for one of them, we're bringing a Menti here. And frankly, we don't really think he's all that good. We haven't really used him anywhere else other than fulfill this specific role here. However, the other one that we are bringing is Iden, and Iden is quite good. And he's again one of those 0 mana AoE heroes that we always talk about. Able to do AoE damage at 0 mana cost, meaning he can spam these out on a consistent basis and really be the Guardian Stone controller for you. And that's something very, very crucial for the special dungeons, because the best way to control them, the best way to CC the opponent team is through Guardian Stone breaks. So Iden fulfills that role very, very well. And let's take a look at the rest of our team. As you can see, the overall combat score is pretty low. So we're not bringing a very strong team by any means. And let's take a look at, why we're bringing those team here. Let's see, nature, here we go. So obviously we have Taliyah at up front, and she fulfills the role of kind of our healer as well as a little bit of AoE damage when we do need her to do some of that, as her A2, at 4 mana cost is relatively high, so she's not going to be all that reliable when it comes to doing AoE damage. But anyway, she, does have the capability once in a while, but it's mostly just for, sustaining the team as much as possible. We also have Nero here. And obviously, Nero kind of fulfills a similar role as Iden, it's just not to the same level. Because his AoE A1 is still pretty good, only at 1 mana cost, so you can spam this out quite frequently. However, it's not a full team AoE, it only does damage to the back row, so that's something you need to be aware of. But nonetheless, he does bring some of the utility that we're looking for here. An alternative that you can possibly plug in is someone such as Rises, as she can bring a little bit of damage over time. So that's another good way of breaking Guardian Stones, as each time the damage over time tick procs, you break 1 Guardian Stone. So that's good, but obviously both of her skills are just single target, so that's something to watch out for. And as we mentioned, these two are kind of a must bring, because I don't know if there's anyone else that fulfills this specific role here. But other than that, all the 3 heroes up here can be replaced. Specifically for Taliyah, if you don't have her, Valar can be an option as well for the front row. His A1 does AoE damage to the back row, so that's decent. And the 3 mana cost is relatively high, but still, he brings a little bit of that. Or if you need to have someone who can bring a little bit more sustain and shielding for your team, then Chetty would not be a bad choice. And obviously, if you want to have damage, certainly you can definitely bring someone such as Rotley, would be a good option to maybe swap out Nero for. And lastly, if you do have Tantalo, especially Fate Core Tantalo, since he has an AoE skill on his A1 at 4 mana cost, he can definitely be your front row tank of choice if you want to. But otherwise, this is the team that we're going for today. So let's see, obviously we have Rira as our primary damage dealer. She does play a pretty important role and has an AoE skill as well. So we'll be relying on her pulling us through this. But if you guys don't have her, you can replace her with someone just like such as Space Rira would be good. Rotley definitely can fulfill that role as well. So with that being said, let's get into here. Alright, as we get in here, one of the things we want to quickly touch on is the mechanic that we're going to be facing throughout the solar trade route. So one of the things that they have is the guy in the center has a block passive. And that is very annoying, because the block passive, what it does is it really disrupts the flow of your attack. because once he provokes, you obviously have to focus your attacks on him, and that means you won't be able to use any of your attacks on the other heroes unless they're AoE, right? So, and we talked about this many times, one of the things that we want to do is spread out our attacks and come in with our AoE, and that way we can break everyone's Guardian Stones and start to pick them off one by one. But with the block passive from this guy, that can definitely be thrown out the window, so I want to be very careful about that. He's one of the higher priority guys on this list. We want to kind of take him out as early as we can. And another thing we want to talk about is all these other guys, they have counter passive, right? The 4 on the side, they do have the counter passive, and that makes them very annoying as well. As you go in with these AoEs, unless you break their Guardian Stones, all of them will come back and counter attack you, and that can easily take out someone like Iden if all 4 of them end up hitting him, or someone such as Rira, can definitely drop her low as well. So that's something we want to avoid. So the first thing that we really want to do here is let's use Rira, and let's take out one of the guys here. Let's break one of their Guardian Stones, and we'll be able to break another one and break him immediately through Rira's Wrath passive. So obviously that's one of the benefit of Fate Core Rira. But if you don't have her, that is totally fine, because your AoE damage dealer on the next turn will be able to break this guy's Guardian Stone as well. But that's not what we want to do here actually. So what we want to do is we actually would like to take out the other guy over here and break his Guardian Stone. So obviously he counters and just did a tons of damage to Iden. So you can see there, very, very scary. Had we used our AoE and all 3 of them attacked back, then Iden would definitely have been taken out there. So be very mindful of that when you're attacking, when you're using AoE attacks. So now what we want to do is we want to use Nero and take out this guy here. So we'll get him broken as well. And lastly, we want to come in with Mementi here, and frankly we're just gonna focus on doing a little bit of damage. This way we're not dropping him all the way to below 30%, but yet at the same time we will be able to do just enough damage so that we can guarantee a kill on him through Rira when Rira's turn comes around. There's Rira. Wrath passive procs is very good. So here he's pretty low. So actually, did he use his block? I didn't see that. I must have missed it, but he must have used his block passive, which is very annoying. But as you can see there, we did end up taking him out. But the problem is right now all of them have both of their Guardian Stones back. So if we use our AoE here, we will definitely put Iden at substantial risk. So I think we have to go the similar route of using this single target skill here, another counter. That's just very annoying. And then we'll use Nero to break his Guardian Stone, and hopefully we can take him out soon enough. Let's see here, this be enough? Ooh, a lot of damage. They really do a lot of damage here. Good thing that first aid passive kicks in from Talia to keep herself alive. So I think at this point, frankly, what we don't want to do is use any of AoE skills. So we'll use a single target yet again. And we'll get countered, but that's okay. However, with Rira, since she is relatively strong and she is our carry, we can safely use the AoE skills here. Let's see. Maybe we'll be able to take out all of them. Not quite. But Rira comes back, and with the Wrath passive, we'll be able to break one of the Guardian Stones. So that's pretty good. And now we can use our AoE freely, as this will break the Guardian Stone of the guy on the right as well. So we'll be breaking both of them at the same time. So that's very good. And we can use Nero's single target or the AoE A1 on the back row here. So decent amount of damage. but not enough to guarantee the kill. There we go, so just one left, and I think at this point we would really like to heal up. So let's use her A1 here. Here we go. Alright, much better. The second stage will be a lot easier. Again, this guy has the block passive, and I believe these two either have the thrust passive or the counter passive as well. So both are very annoying, but we can definitely open it with Rira's A2 here. And that's one thing we want to point out is, as you move between the stages, right, go from stage 1 to stage 2, make sure Rira and Iden has enough mana to use their AoE on the initial attack. Obviously with Iden it wouldn't be a problem because his AoE is 0 mana. With Rira, you want to make sure she goes into the second round with 3 mana so she can use her AoE right away. And this way we don't really have to worry about the counter attacks or anything like that, because Iden will just be able to come in and break the second set of Guardian Stones and everyone will be broken. And now we'll just try to deal as much damage as we can and try to take them out within the next few turns. There we go. And we'll use Talia's AoE just to heal everyone up. Very good. And let's just save up our mana because we really don't need to spam anything right here. And here we go, the boss stage. This is going to be very similar to how we approach the second stage, right? We'll want to use Rira's AoE on everyone right away. Obviously the boss has 3 Guardian Stones, so we'll definitely won't be able to break him right away on the second attack, but we'll get him on the third attack there. Comes back. And there we go. We'll use Iden's A2. Really love the skill animation of this one. We'll be able to break the one on the right. And then with Nero, we'll be able to lock down the boss right here. Very good. And there you go. From here on out, it's really just picking off these targets one by one. We'll take out the ads as soon as we can, and then we should be in a fairly safe spot. Let's see here, I'm pretty sure Rira will be able to take him out. There we go. And now we don't need to use the A1 anymore, so let's just focus on dealing as much damage as we can. Boss comes back. We'll use our hard hitting single target skill here. I really love that skill animation there as well. Here we go. Let's heal up. As you can see here, Talia definitely brings quite a bit of utility in the special dungeon here, with the AoE on her A2 and a little bit of healing consistently throughout the rest of her kit is pretty clutch. Not quite, but oh, it should be very close. There we go. Nero with the final hit passive comes in. So there you have it, guys. That is how you take out the solar trade route on the Nature Day. As we mentioned, it's a little bit trickier. Obviously, as you can see, the stage 1 is definitely the trickiest stage because of all the counters that you get from the 4 heroes behind the front row. So be very mindful when you're using your AoE skills. If you cannot break their Guardian Stones, then it would be better to avoid using AoE skills right away, unless it's someone such as your biggest damage dealer, as we have Rira here, who is very strong and very well equipped, and she can definitely take quite a few hits. But if you're relying on heroes such as Iden or other AoE heroes that are not as strong, then definitely be careful about just spamming mindlessly your AoE skill, because that can actually backfire on you quite a bit. But with that being said, hopefully this is helpful for you guys. If you guys need any other suggestions or any other questions answered, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below and we can take a look at that. If you guys need help with team selections, just let us know what heroes you have and then we can take a look and maybe help you pick out the team that might work. But with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode very soon. Bye bye.